Good morning everyone, welcome back to Tims Cotteswold Farm. Here we are at the NEC, so we're going to the Lamma 2023 tractor show. I'm really excited to show you all the latest machinery that's on the market. We've been able to park in this smaller bit. Mum sported us so that we could get Teddy closer, because otherwise we're going to have to walk a long way. Lots of wellies. Caleb Cooper was after some wellies. Some crushers over there. I'm pretty interested in looking at all this stuff now if we think we're serious about getting cows. All the technology involved in strategically measuring out feeds so that you get all the right rations for your cattle. Pretty impressive. Weigh cell unit, control box for the cab. Oh look, you can actually feed it on both sides, so you could drive down the stall and all the ration would discharge on both sides. That's pretty useful. Automatic greasing and lubing. Yeah, nice bit of kit. Can-Am. You know we like Can-Am. The HD9, so it's what we had on demo, but it's got obviously 6 wheels. So it's got 6-wheel drive instead of the 4-wheel drive that we had. The biggest issue for those that can't remember, I'll put a link up above. It was so noisy, and I think they wanted 27 grand for one. It is open. Obviously we had the storage box in here when we had the demo. It also doesn't have any of the covering like we had, but obviously it's all extra. Look at that load space. That's pretty impressive. See if there's any freebies over here. This is basically what we had on demo. Oh, Can-Am buckets. Yes! Another Can-Am beanie. Merlo. This is what Ollie Blogs was talking about. This is the 4.4 ton, 9 metre lift. I think it's about 170 horsepower. So if you were like a stock farmer, you want to do a bit of topping. But proper back end PTO shaft, pick a pitch. So if you had like a cherry picker bucket, you could actually sit in the bucket and control it from there. Have a look in. There's a nice cab. Lots of visibility. Metals on the outside, so you're not compromising the space on the cab. Nice LEDs, pull handle to get in. You can feel actually the quality in this stuff. It's kind of extra details. Oh, the horn. Set the revs, you know, if you were working on the PTO. That's the visibility out the back window. It's not great actually if you were operating something. That back corner is always pretty obscured. It's really difficult to see half the time. So what I saw, thanks to Ollie Blogs' video, unplug this and charge it up. Oh, someone else found the horn. Tiny little machine. Great though if you're working like warehouses and stuff where you have to have 0 emissions. Compact but pretty comfy cab all round. Nice little nifty steering wheel. Again, all these panels are just such a blind spot. If you're going to find anywhere to hit it, it's going to be there. Manitou stand. Manitou have been coming up, but they're so expensive. If they did one all in black, that'd be really nice with red alloys. One thing I've also said, I need to go to the RTKF net stand because I need to pick up some new SIM cards. So I've got a couple of customers for the Sweeverk and auto steer system. So I said that I'll drop by and have a conversation with them as well. And then we're also going to head over, just behind me you can see there's the Claydon stand. This would be a similar size, something like this. It's a bit higher than the Class Scorpion. I like some of these things so you don't accidentally hit some of these buttons. But generally the cabs are all pretty plush these days. Big step up for the old Macro that we've got. Come around the back. Oh yeah, pick a pitch, spool valves. I'm surprised none of them have got air brakes yet. You think that they would. All polished to within an inch of their lives. It's nice. Apparently they're really nice to drive, but mechanically a lot does go wrong on them. So maybe we'll steer clear of Merlo. On the Claydon stand, so there's the conventional hoe that I was talking about. There's obviously the new hybrid that they brought out, the straw harrow. Spencer's over there. Go have a word in a minute. There's a new Claydon Evolution. So obviously we've got the hybrid. That's the new one that they sort of brought out afterwards. Kind of opened with the Paris show. This is the TerraStar thing. All the Claydon dealer network. Wait, sort of down here. Number 32, JJ. Grain pushers. All the Strimex stuff. Grabs. Obviously muck grabs, that's something that I'm really interested in actually. We did go to cattle for the clamp. It's the sulky stuff. I'm interested to know, obviously you can't with compound, but nitrogen, if a lot of people are going to liquid, whether these should come down in price. Obviously that's the 40 series. You thought that would be something that's the thing of the past. They're obviously good for putting in grass, which is why we've kept ours. A lot of steel in them, but you mash the ground to death, which kind of undoes all the good work that hopefully we're going to be doing with the Claydon. Oh, this is interesting. You know, I was talking to you about rainwater harvesting, so that's basically what we're looking to do. So we got so much real estate on our roofs, it makes sense to try and capture all that water. So the one thing you often do, you boom a bag over the top of the drill to put seed in, and then you kind of lean underneath and slice it with a knife. Now, obviously, if the bag were to go, you basically crush between the bag and the drill. So Strymaker brought this out. So you drop the bag onto here, all the seed would drop down into here, and then hydraulically you can control that hatch from the cab of the telehandler. That's pretty cool. Claydon stand. Dad's having a catch up with Jeff. Just had he very kindly, there was one Claydon badge left and he's given it to Edward. So now Edward's proudly sporting on his little bib a little Claydon badge. What Dad's just doing is basically saying, look, now we've got the drill, how are we going to get the best out of it with the conditions that we've got? So you can see some of the same things. Obviously there's a bit more branding on it, but ultimately this is the same system. The pre-emergence, the lights are the same. They've obviously added a slightly different ladder there, which is better than ours because that kind of drops down and rubs all the paint off. Got those extra spillover pipes, splitter boots. These are obviously, they're the metal ones, which are pretty good. That looks larger than ours. I'm not sure whether they might be like 8-inch shares. Same construction here. This is a bit different. They painted this cast now, whereas ours is just raw cast. They put a smaller wheel on that, you'll notice. Same system though for metering it all out. But what they've done is they've made the chassis longer, so you can have a disc, which you see just underneath that guy's leg. Then you have the leading tine, then you have the seating boot, and so you're able to have all three, whereas with ours you have to interchange. You have to either put the disc or the leg, whereas this has got both. And they've basically changed the wheel configuration so that you can have a longer chassis. What an absolute monster of a slurry machine. Oh, that's why it stinks. Wow. Obviously you guys can't smell it, but actually the ammonia is making my nose feel a bit funny. They must have cleaned it for days to try and get all the slurry back off it, but it does stink pretty strong. It's the Pottinger feeder wagon. Now the really interesting thing, obviously it can't really cope with the demands, like if you were doing hundreds of acres, a forager is far quicker, multiple tractors, multiple trailers. But if you're a one-man band, actually something like this would be really useful because you can ultimately do as much as you want in the clamp, maybe cut some more grass and then stick it, you know, continue to do it that way in a slower way. It's a costly initial investment, but it'll be a fraction of the cost of a forager, and obviously you can do it all on your own. So it's quite an interesting one. There's also zero grazing machines, so there would be a mower at the front and then it would feed up into there and then it would store into that big wagon. Is that all right? Some of these gels, more like the US tends to have these, hence the Southern Strike. Millennial Farmer has obviously got a John Deere one, but they're all skid steers. Controls, so you pull that bar down when you're sat in the seat and then you operate it with those two controls. Nearly 3 metre reach, good if you had a horse yard or something. Trailers haven't really changed, to be honest. Obviously well built. Air brakes and hydraulics. The shoe, you'll notice they've taken the train out of the shoe. If you watch Ollie blogs, you'll know why. Design quality is pretty good. I've never understood why they've done this kind of galv, because it just goes rusty. So the whole trailer is pristine, and then this just gets super rusty. Although what we did notice, Class Western, oh this one hasn't got it, there was like a sprung loaded piece that can extend these to stop all the water going onto this side. This kind of flaps so the manure runs through, hits those horizontals and then hits those beaters, basically flings out. So you could fling that 24 meters, so you could go down your existing tram lines with manure. Ascenso, is that the people we have to mention Real Countryfile to? I can't remember. So these don't tip, basically it all goes in and then that whole piece just moves back and tips it out. It's got a steering axle as well. Here you are, pusher trailers. So you don't, so if you've got a lower shed, then you can still drive those in and you don't have to tip it up, it will simply just push it out. just been onto the Ascenso tyre stand. So I mentioned the Real Life Countryfile and Ollie Blogs, and I've been lucky enough to get my canvas bag. So thanks Ollie for that. What do you think, Edward?
And he's
got the grass harrows here, so they've got bigger and bigger over time. Traditionally you used to just have the tines, but now people have started putting seed box on them so you can actually restitch grass seed in. So RTKF Net's just over there, so we're going to have a conversation with them, obviously get those SIM cards, and say if people are in the market for a cheap, affordable auto steer system, please do get in touch, because Speedberg and I'm doing loads of great deals. I've got the flexibility to be able to do so. I'm not sure how long it's going to last, but if you are in the market, obviously get in touch. My email address will be in the description of this video. Right, so I've been to RTK, I've got the SIM cards ready for those that have actually ordered the system already. Now we might have a bit of lunch, I think. Chieftain Crush. It's got all the weigh cell kitted up to it as well. They're quite noisy. Whereas a lot of them are now putting plastic parts on it to try and reduce the sound so you don't scare the animal as much. This is the bale barron company, so basically small bales go inside and then it condenses them and it comes out as like one large bale, which you could then cut open to effectively make it easier to move them. You can see that kind of stacked design horizon drills. Everyone's getting on the bandwagon of like min-till, no-till, trying to be as clever as possible. To be honest, all this stuff's great, but it's just something else to go wrong. Sometimes, like Claydon, just stick to simplicity. Everyone seems to also be getting on the bandwagon of like bringing these kind of European brands. So this is obviously for drying grass, but you know, disc mowers, all the big companies have actually got a fair bit of competition. There's weaving. Obviously we got rid of our sub disc. Apparently Edward went on the stand and they called him a little terror because he started destroying all their products. So maybe he could be their chief tester. What I find funny, so we got the NZ instead of a straw harrow because we said it would move slightly more than a straw harrow would, but less than a deep subsoiler or a deep cultivator. Weaving have come up with the Energizer. Now basically it is a pigtail cultivator with the ring disc that they've taken off their short disc for like consolidation afterwards. Pigtail cultivator with some pressed discs. Does feel like we're going back in time by probably about 10 years. That's not very cool. Someone's put some chewing gum on it. They're basically using the wheels off there. I think they call that the short disc, something like that. I like Weaving how honest they are about their prices. They're always very forward and it kind of allows you just to have a proper conversation. So it means you don't have to strap them anymore. So if you're putting, you know, 1 or 2 decks on, these come down by the side and then they'll just simply lift up. Krone have got a big presence as normal. It's the Krone Big Pack, Big M mower, the Big X Forager, and this Big X Optimize. I think you can lift the cabs up if I watched Ollie Blogs correctly. Have a quick look around. So you can raise the cab up and it's kind of got that curtain to stop all the rubbish going inside so you can get a bit of extra height on it. All the hydraulic unions, all the filters, exhaust system. Massive engine sat behind here. These big hydraulic pipes feeding LEDs so that if you're working at night it actually lights the place up. Nice working light there as well. I would say one interesting thing about Krone, so my cousin actually works for a dealership which provide Krone, Kramer and a few others, and they've actually had an interest in the channel and they might be able to like work with us, whether it's through gear, merchandise, showing us all the latest stuff, maybe even demos. So I'm not sure yet, but that hopefully is going to be coming in the next couple of months. You get a Bobcat branded ram mount, that's pretty cool. Nice steering wheel. Yeah, the design definitely looks better. I like that. It looks more simplistic, but it's certainly a nicer design. So if you've seen Tom Pemberton's videos, you'll know that they obviously come out and talk about all the insulation, which is pretty cool. Thermal testing, noise testing. It's got to have a cap, I think. Milwaukee have got a bigger stand. H&M hook trailers, so you'd have like a storage container at the back and then it would hook on, turn into like a trailer bed. Big air tanks for the air brakes. Oh, here you go. So it would pick up this body and it basically hooks onto that and it would pick this up off the ground. Missouri drills. Obviously had a look at tillage for one of these, but then we decided to go with the Claydon. They haven't really changed the design. The thing we didn't like the most, they've got those, but they haven't got any discs. And we do like a bit of disc as well to cut through some of the trash. They said that mental health was taking a front stage at Lamma this year. This is quite interesting. So obviously you can set the limit that these start to play they'll drop down but obviously won't drop up, and then they've got this rubber just to take some of the shock out of it. It's on the Bedner stand. They run with pretty much what they had last year. Lots of impressive kit. Can't see the drill though. They've got that topper. I can't see, they may not have brought the drill this year. I like these immersive demonstrations. Got some grain augers, got some paddle stirrers. So obviously you see in the States loads of these. We used to have them more in the UK, but to be honest, they're not very safe. So it doesn't take much for them to crumple and fall over. But ultimately you'd have a hole in the floor. You've probably seen this on Millennial Farmer. That auger would sit underneath. Air is pumped through this when it's hot, but otherwise it just feeds out the bottom and would go in through one of these units and obviously go out into a wagon or wherever you need it to go. We end up using wind power, then technically if you had an electric dryer it would cost us nothing to dry our corn. So now we're going to get into the serious kit. So we've got Valtra, Fendt, Massey and a few other of the larger dealers. So Fendt have brought out this round baler, and obviously there's a wrapper at the back. It's quite a nice design. I like this, to be able to control it like this, and lots of LEDs. There's a Fendt Ideal 9T. Instead of a steering wheel, you can get a joystick. So you see on all the new Fendts, they've changed a lot of the grilling. They've obviously now got this handle as well, which is better. Part of the tank. And just like the 900 series, they've given it that kind of sharp bonnet. What's really cool, they've got all these, so the female connections are flush. That's quite interesting. So usually it would take your Fendt 936. So yeah, all of the rest of the series now share this kind of real sharp bonnet. You see the whole range, which is kind of cool. That's the Fendt telehandler where the actual cab can be lifted up pretty high as well. So you can see into like lorries and stuff, or if you're loading chip. Fendt's brought its own forager wagon out. That does look a mean tractor. They've also got their own forager as well. That blue is absolutely gorgeous. It's a way of having a blue tractor on the farm but going through Anco. Schaefer sprayers. Let's just jump in and have a quick look. Oh, not very easy actually. Isn't a great grab handle. Nice. Cab visibility. Didier's just walking off down with Edward, trying to get him to sleep. So the controls. Nice visibility of the back. Screens. Oh, pretty well designed. Said when I went to Lamma last year, Agrofac. This would be my dream sprayer if I was given the choice. Look how far the booms go out the back. It's the new Vanguard. So we looked at the Condor last time, and it's the Vanguard. The cabs will be the same, so I won't jump in, but pretty huge. Interesting to see what all the section controls like on it. Induction hopper. That's a bit sloppy really if you're paying for that sort of sprayer just to wipe your hands. Could have done better than that. That's a lot of wiring. If your mouse goes through that, you're in trouble. Mikhail have got an absolutely huge stand this year. So you've got the V6, the F550s, all of their straw choppers, which we obviously looked at in a bit more detail last year. Right out. Got their rakes, their V8 balers, their V6s. That's their new V6. Fixed chamber baler, which is why it's an F. Through here they've got their fusion, so their balers and wrappers. Got just their wrapper, they've got their standard 998. I've done thousands of bales with one of those before. It's the 991, which is what we got. It's called 991 because it was first made in 1991. Let's go have a look at the V6 on a pedestal. If you subscribe to my channel, you'll know one of my favourite mowers is the Mikhail Pro Glide. Metal conditioner tines, means it'll last a lot longer. Just generally a well-built machine. I don't know what this one is. Oh, they've now designed one without the conditioner. That's interesting. Mikhail have gone for quite an animated stand this year. That is really impressive. So you have one of those on the front, one of these Pro Glide butterflies on the back, which will give you 9 meters in total. Pink wood chipper. It's got a really cool strap line chipping away at cancer. Motorsport, Agri Bales JCB. It's pretty cool, isn't it? Black alloys, black JCB. That is really nice. Probably locked, but nice. Obviously had a bit of use. I don't think they put as much effort in cleaning it. Not they have to. This is a K2 stand. They got one of the K2 pushers like you saw with Richard Weston's. The material is loaded in there and then it pushes. Biospreader like Caleb Cooper. Normal vertical beater muck spreader, and then their K2 grain trailers as well. Steering axle. Seems inadvertently I must sponsor Kabuta. Look at that. So you could get this in Cavernland if you want instead of Kabuta. But Kabuta tractors are incredibly cheap for what they are. Fendt Ideal 9T combine. And there we have it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, please do give it a big thumbs up. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Tims Cotteswold Farm, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.